It's 7:32. I'll call it our council to order. All the council is here except for our mayor. Our mayor is still overseas. He should be back, I think, later this week.
She'll be back late tomorrow night. I got an email from her today. She's in Barcelona. Her ship was going on to Dubai, and they really debated going another week to Dubai, but felt like she needed to get back to Trophy Club.
We'll be glad to have her back. Okay, we will start with our invocation and pledges. The invocation tonight will be given by Councilman Danny Mayer and our pledges by Chief Danny Thomas. Rise.
Bow your heads, please. Father, you guide and govern everything with order and love. We pray that you look upon this assembly and fill each of us with the spirit of your wisdom. Guide us to do that we may always act in accordance with your will, and that our decisions will do no harm but benefit the well-being of all. Father, we pray tonight for those that stand guard and protect our town, our state, our country, and stand for freedom around the world. Father, we ask a special blessing for those families that patiently await the safe return of those that sacrifice so much for each of us. We ask these things in the name of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Go Bobcats.
Bobcats.
Yes, go Bobcats. Exciting evening tonight. Our next item on the agenda is our citizens' presentations. This is an opportunity for citizens to address the council on any matter, whether or not it is posted on the agenda. The council is not permitted to take action on or discuss any presentations made to the council at this time concerning an item not listed on the agenda. Council will hear presentations on specific agenda items prior to the council addressing those items. You may speak up to 3 minutes or the time limit determined by the mayor or presiding officer. To speak during this item, you must complete the speaker's form and include the topics of your statements. Topics of presentation should be limited to the matters on which the council has authority. I believe we have 2 speakers tonight. The first one is Adam Fox. Adam?
My name is Adam Fox, and this is my wife, Jenny. We live at 2753 Enfield Drive. The issue we'd like to discuss has to do with a Lennar concrete washout located on Waverly Drive, right across the street from our house. It's not uncommon to see multiple cement trucks filling up or washing out their cement trucks at the washout, even as early as 7:30 in the morning, right outside our bedroom window. It's also not uncommon to see supplies, or in some cases trash, pile up in the washout. Now this in and of itself is not that much of an issue, but it is an issue because of the very strong and consistent wind currents in Trophy Club that are always blowing trash into our yard, and therefore we're always having to pick up their trash. As we expect more rain this May, we can also expect more cement trucks and equipment trucks to leave mud tracks behind on the street. We've contacted Pat Cook about this, and to Pat and the town's credit, the procedures for cleaning up the mess has improved. But the real issue at hand is, when will the washout and the 2 other lots next to it be completed along Waverly Drive? We've asked Lennar the same question. They've told us they don't know. We've asked the town the same question. You have told us you don't know. What I do know is that my wife and myself and our surrounding neighbors are ready for this section of the neighborhood to be completed and the washout be moved to a different location. As far as we can tell, the next section, or this washout, handles construction washing out for this section here and this section here. And as far as we can tell, the section here, phase 2, behind the Highlands, behind our house, will also use the washout next to our house. Pulte finished out their washout months ago in the same neighborhood. Lennar needs to do the same. The voters, the taxpayers, the residents deserve to have our neighborhood completed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fox. Guess we can follow through on that. Next speaker is James McGrew. James?
It's actually Jason, but
Jason.
my writing's so bad that I'm not surprised by
Well,
that.
no,
so
it's my reading ability, Jason.
We're good to
so,
go.
I apologize.
we're good to go. First of all, ladies, congratulations. We're all very honored. Byron Nelson is a great school. I've got 2 kids that go there. All of the students are fantastic. The staff are good. And to win state like that in golf in this state, Texas, is amazing. So congratulations. I'm very proud of you. Thank you for what you've all done. Well done. I wasn't planning on being here tonight, and I took the time today to go vote here. And to be honest with you, I was a little taken back by something that happened to me today. As I was driving up, there was a sign that said voter info and a comment regarding one of the amendments. And I thought, what a great idea. And they handed me the information. And Glenn, it started off with just a brief description about you, and then it went into the other candidate. And just, and I understand politics. We all understand politics. But this is Trophy Club. I'm used to the mayor waving at me. There was water left out here at a mailbox. And I think we're better than this, all right? This kind of turns me off, all right? I don't know you at all, and I'm sitting here reading this thing, and it's got something about World Series rings. Just to show you I'm not biased, I wore my Fenway shirt tonight, okay, for the Red Sox. I just think about what you're doing and how you do it, because someone like me that's lived here since 1993 is proud of this town and proud of what these young ladies have done. And when I showed this to my daughter that's a senior at Byron Nelson, she was taken back like I was, and she can vote. That's all I've got to say, and I'm going to finish this on a positive note once again. Well done. Any of y'all going to A&M?
A&M what?
Thanks again for hearing me.
Thank you, Jason. Okay, with that, I don't think we have any more, Amy, right? Okay. We're going to go to our presentations, and we're going to actually flip items, and we're going to do item number 2 first, which, as Jason proudly led into, is that we are honored and humbled as a town to have a state championship golf team, ladies golf team with us here. They upset Montgomery, who I guess has won the state champ the last 4 years. And so hats off to you guys. I mean, to be able to step up and do that and challenge adversity, grit your teeth and get there, that's awesome. And we're honored to have y'all here tonight. I get to present you guys with a plaque, so I'll mosey my way down there, and then we'll get a big photo. So let's have a big hand for the Lady Bobcats.
Thank you.
All right, who's going to be the team leader and get the plaque here? Okay. And how do you want it? This way, that way?
Well, before we walk down there, I wanted to say something real quickly. Knowing this is the first state UIL sports championship in Byron Nelson history, I read today this is the first UIL sanctioned sport state championship in the Northwest ISD 64-year history. So that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
And we have to say an honorable mention to the boys. The boys got 4.
They were there too, weren't they?
And, but they literally said, we don't want to undo our honor tonight, we want the girls to be proud, so they said, all the girl power. So, how do we want, y'all turn around here and let's go this way?
Yeah, just come to the center and face us, we've all got cameras, so.
You want us behind there? Is that easier?
Everybody on the dais? Everybody on the dais.
How's this? This work? Right out of the way? How do you want?
You're good, just scooch forward and get friendly.
That's fine.
Wide angle.
All right, we all good? All right.
I'd like to say something, actually. I had the privilege, ladies, being on the number 8 tee on Thursday, the weekend before that Saturday you were playing, and I said, I want to see you at the council meeting, and here you are. Congratulations. Yes. Thank you.
Oh, coach. Come on, coach.
You had something to do with it, I'm sure.
I drove that Suburban.
There you go.
Actually, we were wondering, you know, in all the travels, all the tournaments we go to, all the small towns we travel through, we happen to see those big water towers with state champions at the top of the water tower. We're wondering what it takes to get these young ladies up on that water tower trophy club.
Great idea.
Right around that bobcat someplace.
Yeah.
Yep. We need to put that on future agenda items?
Oh, I think we just need to have Mike take
Yeah.
control.
Yeah, let's just see if we can have Mike take care of that. Can you work on a little bit?
I don't know. It's too late for me.
Good job, girls.
All right, y'all have a blessed evening.
I know, a lot of paint. A lot of paint.
It's always a great time to certainly be able to recognize the state champion. So that's the first of many more. We've now passed the test. All right, we're going to go to item 2, which was originally item 1. And we're going to hear a presentation from our Public Information Officer, April Reiling, on the new town website, which is up on the screen right now. April, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Strother. Just a brief presentation from me. I know you guys have all weeded through the new website, so this is more for the people at home who may have not been exposed to it yet. Welcome to our new website, trophyclub.org. We have added a lot of content to this website, including expanding the education section. It's got a nice, thorough piece about NISD in each school in town. That's obviously a major draw for Trophy Club, so we wanted to put a lot of emphasis on that. We added a visitor section, which gives anybody visiting the town, or the area for that matter, more information about things to do in Trophy Club. All of our parks are well represented on this website. The community pool, Trophy Club Park, has a big draw on this website. So for anybody coming into town, we've got a hospitality section now, thanks to Hampton Inn and Value Place. So hopefully that section will keep growing. We kind of looked at what people were going to most frequently on the old site, and we wanted to make that easily accessible from the home page here. So if you've got a street light out or a crack in the road or what have you, it's easy to contact the town and report that issue right here by the click of a button. You've got all of your departmental contacts here, so whether you're looking for a permit or you're wanting to put information on the town's Facebook feed or what have you, you can find us very easily here. And then, of course, our capital improvement section. This is up and coming. I believe the Indian Creek project will be one of the first ones to go in this section. But this is exciting for us because it just kind of furthers our transparency effort, and it allows us to really open up what's going on inside these projects and get that information out there for everybody to see. So that's wonderful on all accounts. Another major component to this website is the connectivity of it. We wanted people to be able to communicate with us as well as us communicating with them. So we launched the TC Exchange, which is the new Trophy Club blog. All news and information regarding the town is going to go out via TC Exchange. And right now we're in the phase of kind of working out the kinks of this website, making sure that links are working and all of the content is where we want it to be. We just uploaded a whole new map section under residents today because I received an email that said, hey, where's my addressing map? I want to send a letter to the people down the street who installed some really pretty flowers in their garden. And we said, oh, okay, well, we need to make that more accessible. We added a map section to the residents tab. So it's really easy with the new content management system to do things like that, whereas before we were kind of in the weeds using an outdated software program known as Dreamweaver. Happy to be away from Dreamweaver. TC Exchange allows us to organize this content, whether you're just looking for recreation stories, you want to know what the latest and greatest is coming out of parks, or whether you want to know what's going on in public safety. It's all easily accessible. We have had, under the golf cart posting, let me just find that.
We had a chat.
It gives you 7 blog posts per page before it rolls over and you have to click to the next page. But under Trophy Club is now a golf cart friendly community, which was posted on April 26th. We are receiving some comments. So here's our two-way communication. It allows me to just respond right back to these folks who have any questions or need clarifications on what the latest news breaking information is. So that's very exciting. People are using this. It's working. Yeah. And we've only been out for, I don't know, a week and a few days. The other thing that residents can do, and community members for that matter, we wouldn't limit this, is you can email article suggestions. For example, Councilwoman Tiffany is big into Skunk Works, and she sent me kind of a blog of some sorts on Skunk Works, and that's great, but now anybody out there who's got a passion and wants to send me information to post on the blog can just email me here at tcexchange@trophyclub.org. We'll vet it. It obviously has to be community appropriate, but once it's vetted and we've done our due diligence, then we'll post it out here for the community to discuss, debate, agree with, disagree with, what have you. So this is just a great new tool that we're really excited about. And no matter where you go on this site, on the right-hand side, you can see Facebook is following you everywhere. That has become one of our primary tools for communication. We've got over 1,300 followers now on our Facebook, and it's the easiest, most instant way to reach a large amount of people in our populace. So all you have to do is click on the Facebook feed, and it's telling you the latest information we've put out there on Facebook, which tends to be kind of short news snippets versus a longer 300-word plus blog post. And of course, you can print this web page right here. You can email it to yourself. You can share it with your friends. You can post a blog post on Twitter. It's very social media friendly, very social media savvy, this website. And for those of us who need bigger text here, you can just increase your font size, and the search function is excellent on this site. I'm just going to look up permitting in the search function, and it gives me 12 results from maps to online options. These are going to take you directly to the permitting section of the website: health inspections, building in a floodplain, community development. It's going to give you everywhere where permitting is mentioned in this website. It's going to pull up an option for you to click on. So it makes it very easy to navigate. Even if you're not sure where it is on the site, just search for it and it's going to point you in the right direction. This website, like I said, is evolving. There's a lot of things that we'd like to do with it. For example, and this is kind of the start of the vision I have for council, but on our town manager's page, I've put up a picture of our two town managers, Town Manager Mike Sly and Assistant Town Manager Stephen Seidel, and a brief bio. I don't even know if it could constitute as a bio, just kind of highlights from their careers and their profession and their experience. And I would love to do this with all of you. I asked for bios, and some of you sent me short life stories, which I appreciate. Which I appreciate. But a reader is not necessarily going to read all of that. They're wanting highlights and snippets. That's just kind of the way the world has come. So I'll probably be paring that back and emailing you back and saying, okay, let's condense this. Look at this page. This is what we're looking for. But it's nice to put a face to the name and vice versa, and it kind of gives town staff more of an identity versus just town staff or town council. So we're looking to do this with all of our council and possibly department heads over time, but again, that's kind of coordinating a song and dance. We would need to get headshots with everyone and brief bios and so on and what have you. Another piece that we're looking at expanding in this website is really supporting our businesses in town, the economic development functions. We're working on that section itself, so we haven't launched this piece yet, but we'd like on the homepage to have a direct link to economic development and business-centric information. We've talked about highlighting a business of a month, maybe going to our businesses and saying, hey, you know, are you willing to offer a coupon deal for residents where if they click on it on our website and print it, they can take it in and get a $5 pizza at Vinnie's, just for example. So kind of pushing business locally and helping those folks out, as well as drawing potential commercial into our side, and so that they're seeing what Trophy Club is all about and how fantastic our community is, and that we want them here, that we're looking for them. Can I answer any questions for you?
No, but I can tell you that I have used it a number of times, but this morning specifically, I was looking for American Supports Americans, and frankly, I'd forgotten really the name. So I go into, and this website was so easy. Oh my goodness. I searched, sure enough, it comes up, and then it links me to all this stuff about American Support Americans, and in case you don't know, it's pages. And I mean, it was very informative and so easy.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you. And I didn't have to call you, April C., and ask you. It was great. It's very nice.
Thank you.
Does it still tie into Binocular?
It does, yes, sir.
And that's something we're working on.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
And let me point out another issue that we are also working on, and has become more and more prevalent, the need for us to get this across the finish line, and that's codification. As easy as it is today to get to our code of ordinances, those ordinances haven't been updated or codified since 2010, I think.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So they are on the books, but all the things that the council has done since then is not captured. So if you've amended an ordinance or whatever, it may actually say something that is not true today. So the codification effort, we've engaged Franklin Publishing to do that. We're in the final stages of approving that, and basically what they did is codified all of our ordinances, put it back to to the management team for us to review the old set against what's being here and reconciling the differences, and that's where it is, and that's going to become a huge effort on our part and a priority on our part to get done, because it's, you know, to roll out the website, as proud as we are of this website, it's just as important that the information that's on that website is current, and today I can tell you that the Code of Ordinances is not current. It needs to be updated, and it needs to be linked to the codified Code of Ordinances, so that's going to be a huge priority for us.
Mike, should we have a disclaimer on there?
That's what I was going to ask.
Explaining that somebody, if they have questions
Might
about
do
a
that, because
particular.
Carolyn's
That's what
already
I
run
was-
in the development world. She's already run into a couple of issues.
I would
So
think it's a good idea.
we may need to make that disclaimer.
There's a date in the footer of the document, but I think that that's a great idea.
Bill Banner.
Yeah.
When we get, when Franklin finishes their work, I'm trying to remember, I think does Franklin have their own website page that they use for this type stuff?
They'll host our code of
They're
ordinance.
hosting it, because I know Municode does, and I was thinking Franklin did the same thing. So I think those are probably the two players in the arena. That's good.
The only other thing I'd like to point out to you is on the old website, we'd had upcoming events listed right at the top in a prominent location on our homepage. I have had some questions about that. We have moved to using a Google calendaring system. It makes it very easy for people to share meetings, to share events, to add them to your calendar. So all of our events are located here in the event calendar. And we've been adding proclamations and Cinco de Mayo and Mother's Day and other non-town functions that people might find valuable. But this is our new catch-all for meetings, events, any proclamations you guys proclaim, and so on and so forth. So this calendar is located on I believe all of our pages, the home page and the residence page, certainly, and the visitors page. It may not be on the business page, but we wanted to make sure that it was easily accessible to people. This is just going to get, it's going to take training. This is where you go to find events and meeting calendar, and we're just going to have to train people to, this is the new location for all of this information. It just didn't make sense to use that same theory and list it on our homepage. We just don't have that kind of space anymore. So these rotating stories at the top.
Okay, so before she leaves the calendar, I think she's doing this on purpose. Today, I was looking for an event, and someone was in my office, and I said, I need to find it on the website. It really didn't matter what that person and I were talking about, but I needed to find the event. And I started pecking around on that website and couldn't find it, and finally buzzed April and said, where in the heck is the event calendar? Had no idea it was on the front page staring me in the face.
It says event calendar.
Right there on. Yes, I was embarrassed. All right, you did that on purpose.
You won't do that again, will you?
I'm telling on myself.
That's a good thing, though. April, I know you've put your heart and soul into it. I mean, the website shows it. I know it's been many, many hours in the process. We have certainly a much better, new and improved website for all our citizens to use. And yeah, I think it's just going to take a little bit of moving around. But like I said, that's with our social friendly, especially our younger residents that are moving into town, this will fall right in. So it's us older folks that have to need some help, but that's okay.
Just search for it in the search function.
That'll work.
Yep, you'll find
Council,
it.
any other questions, comments?
Oh, I have one question regarding the website. Prior to this, I know that you looked at how many hits the website received. Are you getting more hits now? Do you know? Is there a way to measure that or to?
Well, we've only
identify
been
that?
live for a week and a few days.
Right, I know.
So no, I can't give you any measurable data yet. I can tell you that we've got a sign up for e-news under Stay Connected on the homepage, and in the last week and a few days, we've had 25 people sign up for e-news blasts, which
Well, that's different.
that's
Yeah.
a significant increase. So people are looking at it, they're able to find it, and that's exactly what we needed was better communications, better ways for people to find how to communicate. So
Good.
Great. Fantastic job.
thank you.
Thanks, April.
Council, any other comments?
John.
Okay. Thanks again, April. Can we get our lights back on, please? Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Consent agenda is all matters listed as the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the town council and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be a separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Entertain a motion.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Rose, second by Councilman Schroeder to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor, aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, that'll take us to item 8, presentation of the town mid-year financial update and discussion of the same. I think Town Manager Sly, you're going to lead us off?
I am, thank you. Our budget analyst, Kristen Navarro, is going to give you a mid-year review, but I thought it would be very appropriate, it happened today, to at least publicly acknowledge and let you know that once again, GFOA has preferred on the Town of Trophy Club the Distinguished Budget Award for the fiscal year beginning October 1 of 2012. So this current fiscal year, we've been honored with the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award again, and that is through no single effort more so than Kristen Navarro and Michael Aguilera, who put that document together for us. And I wanted to acknowledge that publicly and thank them for a job well done. And then let Kristen head down the mid-year review report.
Great, congratulations.
Before we do that, I don't want to pass that by with just a congratulations. I think it's important, and I don't have the numbers for this year on how rare it is to receive this budget award. I mean, for all of the cities across the U.S., and I believe Canada also is involved in it, to receive a document to receive acknowledgement of the quality of your document from this group is absolutely outstanding. Outstanding. Thank you.
Before we get started, I just want to give council just a reminder that the mid-year report is similar to the one we gave last year. It gives you a little bit more detail as far as categories go on the expenditures and revenues. And I'll turn the time over to Kristen.
Thanks, Michael. I apologize if I sound stuffy. I kind of have a stopped-up nose. Good evening, council. I'm just going to start by going through and highlighting some specific categories through our revenues and expenditures where I thought needed a bit more explanation. But if you have any questions or comments or anything at all throughout, please feel free to interrupt me and let me know. We'll start off with general fund revenues. As you can see, taxes, we're doing really well. We always have a great property tax collection rate in Trophy Club. Sales tax revenue is, again, continues to be, exceeds last year's collection, so we're really pleased about that. Few categories that look a little bit low. We'll start off with licenses and permits. It's at 32%. It looks low for this time of year. However, that's due mostly to the fact that we have 2 large franchise payments that we get at the end of May that are related to our gas and electric franchise. We received those at the end of May last year, and we anticipate the same this year. So we'll see that percentage increase significantly once we receive those revenues. Fines and fees is another one that looks a little bit low, as well as rents. Both of those are have a large portion related to recreation revenues and fees. So obviously recreation is seasonal, so as we continue into the summer months, we'll see that revenue increase significantly as well. Sales, we're at 0% right now. That's our auction sales. We have not had an auction yet this year, but we do anticipate to have one before the end of the year, so we don't really see any major concerns there. Are there any questions about revenues before I move on?
Yes. Our building permits are under license and permits, right? Are we behind on building permits? Or?
No, we've made a significant headway in that. I think we're catching up back to where we should be.
How many, Mike, how many do we have in-house right now?
58, excuse me. 58.
How long does it take to get 58 out the door?
Well, it's not necessarily how long it takes for us to get it out the door. It's how long it takes for them to come pick them up.
Okay.
We'll continue the process. We've got Ron set aside doing nothing but plan review, and he's pushing them out just as quick as we can. And frankly, the early slowdown this year was a direct result of not having any properties
Ready.
to speak of
Yeah.
to sell. Now that we've got 6 3B and 7 2C completed, they've got more than adequate numbers of properties to sell, and as a consequence, activity has picked up just as quick as or as much as it has been in the past. We fully anticipate making our budget numbers, and we budgeted for 275 residential permits this year. So we're picking up steam.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll move on to general fund expenditures, and we'll go through this by department. The two departments I'd like to point out on this slide specifically are police and EMS. The other financing uses category, based on the percentages, look to be a little bit over at this point, but I'll let Michael go into some more detail about that.
For EMS and police, that other financing uses is always associated with debt payments, and the debt associated with that line, the principal amount is due in March, so it's been captured already. So as far as it being down significantly at that point of the year, that's fine. That's per the schedule. I will say in police, though, I did make a clerical error when we were tying out to our debt service schedule, so it's a little low. We didn't budget quite enough to make that debt service payment, but we've got a little payment coming up in September for just interest, so I don't see it being a big problem.
Moving on to recreation, we see that we're 75% remaining in the expenditures. Again, a lot of expenses in recreation, are related to the summer months. So we'll see, just as we discussed, revenues increasing during the summertime related to recreation. We'll see those expenses increase as well, and they should even out. For community events, the supplies category, we're at 25%. That's mostly because we've already held most of our events that are budgeted in that line this year. All we've got left now are 4th of July and Pet Fest, so we don't anticipate any expenditures outside of what we budgeted in community events. For planning and zoning, I know that Michael has gone over this a little bit in the monthly financials. Purchase services is at 8%. That's because we have exceeding expenditures in engineering, which actually can be seen as a good thing because it really shows where we're at development-wise as a town. So I think that it's good that we have all those engineering expenses at this point. Moving on to finance, again, I know that Michael's discussed the different expenses that relate to purchase services. Additionally, I'd like to say that we just paid the majority of our audit in March, so that brought us down to about 25% in that category. We don't anticipate any other large expenses coming out there either, so I think we'll be okay at year end. Information services is a supply, or purchase services rather, it's not supplies, is another category that's running, that looks a little bit over right now. And that's just because we pay a lot of those fees up front at the beginning of the year. I know that Mike Pastor purchased some hardware at the beginning of the year, so we don't anticipate any other large expenditures coming out of there either. Then for facilities management, purchase services, again, that's our insurance premium that we pay annually, and that's paid at the beginning of the year as well. So again, overall in expenditures in the general fund, I don't think that we're in a bad place at all. Are there any questions over general fund expenditures? We'll move on to funds outside of the general fund that you don't normally see every month with the monthly financial report. As far as revenues, storm drainage utility and our hotel occupancy tax will be significantly impacted by the opening of the Hampton Inn. We did budget for them to open in February. They didn't come online till March. So we might see a small shortage there, but I don't anticipate it to be very large. I think that we'll make up a lot of that revenue over the next 6 months with the opening of the Hampton Inn. For Economic Development Corporation 4B, revenue, we do have a transfer that we make annually in finance. We do that usually at the end of the year. So once we make that transfer, it's for prior year reserves. So once we make that transfer over, we'll see that revenue increase significantly. As far as expenditures for Economic Development 4B, keep in mind that the year-to-date column includes the 220,000 plus funds that we used to call debt in January. So that's why that line looks to be over right now, because we called that debt in January.
Can we, how often do we revisit the hotel occupancy tax? Is it every quarter we talk about that?
We usually only do it at mid-year, but we can bring it up
I like to
next
see it,
quarter
yeah,
if you'd like.
I just want to see how Hampton is
fine.
impacting that.
We can do that.
In this slide, I just wanted to include some key dates for our upcoming budget cycle. Last week, May 1st, we had the review of capital needs with managers. That went really well. There were we saw some good requests in there that could better the town for each department. In June, I don't think we're set yet on the dates, but I know that there's going to be a management retreat in June. July 15th will be when managers update you guys, council, on their base budgets. Again, July 25th, every year we see the certified appraisal roll come out for both Denton and Tarrant appraisal districts. Mark your calendars for August 2nd as well. That'll be our budget workshop. It's going to be at 1 p.m. And then August 5th, we'll submit our effective and rollback rate calculations. Then September 23rd, we adopt our budget. So those are the key important dates on the budget calendar for this year.
Before we
work between now and then.
No kidding.
Before we leave the slide, I just want to clarify the July 15th meeting is when we referring to management. That's town manager Sly. The August 2nd budget workshops when the actual managers are going to come in and present to you. That's the 1 o'clock meeting that we have on Friday.
Thank you, Michael. At this point, I'll take any questions or comments that you have. I think overall, as a town, we're doing really well. We don't anticipate any huge disasters or anything coming up with the budget. I think we're right on track where we need to be with both revenues and expenditures and all funds. So I think we're really pleased with where we're at right now.
Council, any questions?
Okay, I will turn it over to Michael now. He's going to talk a little bit about debt service.
Town manager Sly asked that I just kind of go over a brief summary of where we're at with regards to debt service. Now that we've called debt in January, just kind of see where we're at right now. This first slide just comes right out of the budget. The only thing I've done to it is just updated it for where we're at with this fiscal year. Obviously, we made a lot of debt payments in March, at the end of February, beginning of March, so that's been updated. And this slide's just giving you, as a whole, all the debt that we have for the town. And it's kind of a real good illustration of that step down where our debt really falls off there in 2015 and again in 2017, and it's just stepping down as each issue finishes it out. We go to the next slide. I showed this to Mike earlier. He said, "This is a busy slide." I said, "Yeah, I know. This is all of our issues, and it's just stacking them on top of each other every year." You can see that purple one, that purple bluish one that's right there in the middle that keep going all the way out to 2030. That's the park bond. And so that's the last one to be completed here. You can also see the GO Series 2007 associated with street improvements is the orange one there on the bottom. So, we've obviously got, I wouldn't say some room, but it's a good opportunity here. 2014, the spike in 2014 is associated with the 2012 tax notes that we issued last summer. So we can go to the next. And this slide here just kind of illustrates where the funding comes for all these debt issues. I think I've explained this before. Not all the debt issues are serviced by the INS rate. We have other funds that are contributing, one of which is storm drainage. to help service some debt associated with street and drainage improvements back in 2007. And then we have general fund kicking in a little bit of an amount as well in the departmental budgets, and that was associated with vehicle and equipment purchases on the tax notes from 2010. This is a slide that was posted to the website last week. Stephen and Mike both thought it would be a good idea to go ahead and put it up here and just kind of show you what's out on the website with regards to our research on the historical property tax and how it's evolved over the years and what's caused the different uptakes and dips in the tax rate. And you can see that, that bottom color there on the bottom represents the operating rate. And when you look over to the side, you can see that the operating rate has maintained fairly steady. It's varied a couple of cents here and there, but the major uptick in the overall tax rate is associated with increase in debt service. And you can see that begins in, the big jump is in 2011. And that's mainly associated with the park bond. So there were other items that, added to that. We've added, obviously, a few positions as the town's grown. We've had to increase a few departments to meet demand, especially in community development. And, we've added a couple of positions with regards to police, EMS. So that's a good slide if you'd like. Obviously, we listed some amenities there as well that have come online that we've now had to operate and maintain. So if you have any questions about debt, I'd be happy to answer them for you. That is our mid-year budget report. Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Michael and Christian. Great job as always, and congratulations on the award again. Moving towards our transparency goal. Okay, moving on. Item 9, consider and take appropriate action regarding a proclamation declaring the month of June as Speed Awareness Month and Trophy Club. I'm gonna turn the mic over to Councilman Schroeder. I know he's passionate about this.
Yes, I am.
Wanted to make sure we got it
Appreciate
proclaimed before June.
Absolutely appreciate it. So, proclamation declaring June as Speed Awareness Month. Whereas the Town Council of the Town of Trophy Club urges all citizens of the community to drive the posted speed limit and become aware of the inherent dangers involved in speeding. And whereas Trophy Club maintains rapid residential growth, is home to 4 schools, and values a strong park system, all of which have brought additional activity on Trophy Club roadways, requiring drivers to remain extra cautious while navigating the streets of Trophy Club. And whereas Trophy Club is an active community with adults and children who utilize sidewalks and roadways for activities such as walking and jogging, as well as riding scooters, skateboards, rollerblades, bicycles, and tricycles throughout town, requiring that drivers remain aware and drive defensively. And whereas Trophy Club is now a golf cart friendly community, and motor vehicle drivers should respectfully share the road and remain vigilant to ensure golf cart drivers remain safe and secure. And whereas by avoiding distractions, expecting the unexpected, and giving your full attention to the roadway is the responsibility of all drivers. And whereas through abiding by state law, drivers and passengers buckling seat belts and maintaining a safe distance around other vehicles will increase traffic safety throughout the town. And whereas, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, during the first 9 months of 2012, there were over 25,580 traffic fatalities nationwide, representing a 7% increase since 2011. Now, therefore, I, Connie White, Mayor of the Town of Trophy Club, Texas, on behalf of the entire Town Council and all our citizens, do hereby proclaim the entire month of June as Speed Awareness Month in the Town of Trophy Club, Texas.
Thank you,
How
Councilman
are we
Schroeder.
going to know that speed awareness is being effective?
If you don't find out, if you don't hear about speed awareness in Trophy Club, Texas, you're welcome to knock on my door. You're going to
Okay.
hear, everybody's going to hear about it.
Would we send that message inside the gated communities as well, please? It's a problem.
Can I make a motion?
Speed is a problem.
I move that we adopt the proclamation declaring June as Speed Awareness Month in Trophy Club.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Mayer, second by Councilman Rose, to accept the proclamation for June as our Speed Awareness Awareness Month and Trophy Club. Any further discussion? Councilman Schroeder.
Just real quickly, there's not a day that goes by that I don't see multiple people speeding in Trophy Club. And it's, yeah, I mean, it's terrible. Maybe they're not all residents. Maybe they're passers through going to Trophy Club Park or to our other commercial properties or other schools or what have you. But I just would ask, on a personal favor, to everybody, please be aware. The reason we picked June as our Speed Awareness Month is that is the first month of summer vacation for our school children. There are going to be more and more kids on the streets. And one of the charms of Trophy Club is the community feeling that allows our children to go out and play in the parks and, play in their front yards and, so forth and so forth, be able to walk to the splash pad and to other facilities. So just, again, asking people to be aware of their speed, be aware of what's going on around you. 30 miles per hour is the speed limit. That's not to say you have to drive 30 miles per hour. There's nothing that says you can't drive 25 or even 20 miles per hour around the houses and those structures. So just please be aware.
Thank you.
I have something about this weekend, Chief. Since we're coming up on golf carts, I had a visit with one of my neighbors who had their children out driving their golf cart on the street, and explaining to them that that was a violation of the law. And as we roll out golf carts next month, I would sure like to see a zero tolerance policy on the operation of these young people in these golf carts, and I'd like to see some tickets written.
Me as well. I agree. This is one reason that I thought the golf cart ordinance was important, is to give us
Some teeth.
control and some laws and some fines for inappropriately using these golf carts.
Or impound them.
Or
We
impound
gotta
them.
do
I don't-
something. The
that's
children,
right.
the use by the children is just,
It's
in some
unreal.
neighborhoods, mine in particular,
It's-
that I'm aware of,
Right.
there's a lot of golf carts that they allow their children to
That's right.
drive. Just wanted to say that.
Yes.
I think we can count on Chief Niffen and his team.
And you
to,
quit
get-
smiling,
get-
Mr.
get-
Town Manager.
Get the message
Those
out.
kids were driving them before we passed the
That's
ordinance.
Councilman,
correct.
I'm not going to say a word about
Exactly.
parental discretion at this point.
But you know what? We know that there was a golf cart accident. We might as well talk about that for a moment because it's the same thing. But we don't really know who was driving that golf cart. So again, it's inappropriate use of those vehicles. So now you've got a ticket booked. Give a few tickets and it might help.
We typically give folks 30 days grace to get used to the ordinance.
Oh, no.
Y'all are directing me to do otherwise, though.
Well,
Y'all are directing me to do otherwise.
yes.
So directed.
Yes, absolutely.
We'll leave it up to the
We-
officer's
we
discretion.
can't
like
do
I
that
did.
because
As
of-
always.
They don't get the message by getting the message, then we can certainly back it up with a
We'll talk
With
to
a
the
fine.
town manager.
I guess the
Officially, we
same-
can't direct you.
I guess the same rule applies when I went through the academy is you're looking for voluntary compliance at whatever level that takes, right?
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote on the proclamation. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, everybody.
Good job.
Appreciate your support on that.
Item number 10, consider and take appropriate action regarding an interlocal agreement between the town and Tarrant County to expand and modify the West Nile Virus Surveillance and Response Program and authorizing the mayor or her designee to execute all necessary documents. Town Manager Sly.
Thank you, Council. Ordinarily, I'd put something like this on the consent agenda because it is a no-brainer. But I thought it was important to at least describe to the citizens and the viewers of our meeting what this is all about. Tarrant County has come across with a proposal, an interlocal agreement that we certainly recommend that you approve. That basically will have them putting mosquito traps in the Tarrant County portion of Trophy Club. Our only commitment in this interlocal agreement is to transport those on a periodic basis, those traps, back to their labs, at which they'll do the necessary lab work and monitor for West Nile and the like. So our only commitment in this interlocal agreement would be to be the transportation mechanism for getting their traps to and from their labs, and it would certainly be a strong recommendation from the staff that we approve this interlocal agreement and allow Tarrant County to perform those services for us and keep us informed. I got their first weekly update today, and there have been no reported instances. They're already starting this in other communities, and they're just expanding their outreach in Tarrant County. So it would be the staff's recommendation to approve this interlocal agreement with Tarrant County.
I would move that we approve the interlocal agreement between the Town of Trophy Club and Tarrant County to expand and modify the West Nile virus surveillance and response program, and authorize the mayor or her designee to execute all necessary documents.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Mayer, second by Councilman Rose to approve the interlocal agreement between the town and Tarrant County regarding West Nile. Further discussion?
Just a real quick question. More speculation, I guess, but any talks or plans for Denton County to do the same thing?
Well, we have reached out to Denton County to see. I have not heard. Do you know, Chief?
I talked to Bob Martinez this morning, and he said no.
Not this time.
No, they're having trouble with the labs doing the testing of it, so they're going to do it in the county. If we do have cases or whatever, they'll set traps closer into our area, but they're going to monitor a certain amount of traps.
Anything else?
I do have one thing on the form. It's on page 5 for the signatures. It says by the city manager. So
We'll change that.
okay, to the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
Or does he? Fine, thank you.
This was provided by Tarrant County. They wouldn't know it.
Yeah.
They wouldn't know any different.
Okay, excellent.
Thank you, Councilman Rose. Anything else? Okay. Call for the vote then. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item number 11, consider and take appropriate action regarding a resolution granting the town's consent to the provision of retail water and wastewater services by Mud One for 3 separate properties located in the Village Center, Plan Development number 27, and providing an effective date. Okay, I just read that wrong. 3 separate areas in the Village Center in Plan Development 27. I was looking for 3 and I was not reading properly. Town Manager Slack.
Thank you. A couple of important points here, and I'm sorry that the difference in colors in this map don't display for the audience as well, but this area down and through here, if you can follow my cursor, it represents the PID. This area up in, this is actually the high school and Medlin and Independence Park. The high school's in the mud right now. These 3 properties that are not colored, the little triangle piece in front of Medlin, and then if you'll follow my cursor, this is a property line basically for the LDS church, and then there's another 4 acres that has a sign on it currently that's talked about a Montessori school. Those 3 properties are what's referred to as no man's land. Technically, they're in the town limits of Trophy Club, but they are not in the mud district, nor are they in the PID. The PID currently has an agreement with the mud to provide water and wastewater services. But because these 3 properties do not have, or are not part of the PID, they are going to need to be provided water and wastewater services. And if you've been up that way anytime soon, you know that LDS is blowing and going. So they're going to need water and wastewater here pretty quick. And the other couple properties are in design stage right now. So there's a lot of activity up there. And because they're not in the PID, they don't fall into that PID agreement. And because they're not in the MUD district, the MUD can't provide it to them without, according to the Texas Water Code, the town consenting to the MUD to provide retail water and wastewater services. So that's the purpose of this resolution, is for the town council to authorize to the MUD to provide retail water and wastewater services to these 3 properties that technically don't belong to anybody. They're not in the PID, they're not in the MUD at this point. What the reality will be is each one of these property owners is going to have to make a decision because they are outside the MUD district. The MUD rate order would dictate that all other things being equal, they would be charged double the rates. They could also turn around and petition to the MUD to be annexed into the MUD, in which case they would, now the whole map would be colored appropriately, and they would just pay MUD rates that all the other businesses and residential customers pay. But that's going to be that'll be a decision that the property owner makes, and they're going to have to officially request to the MUD for services and make that decision on their own. They'll have to put a pencil to the paper and decide, is it more beneficial, as an example, to petition to be annexed? And it doesn't have to be contiguous. It can be spot annexed within the town. Would it be more beneficial for them to pay the MUD property tax or double water and sewer rates? Does that make sense? That's the decision that the property owners are going to make. What we're asking you to consider tonight is approving this resolution authorizing the MUD to provide those services to those 3 property owners once they've petitioned to the MUD directors how they want to handle it, right?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Church doesn't pay property tax to either one.
That's correct.
That's the only one that's under construction right now. The rest are vacant, right?
Well, yes, under construction.
So, are you telling me that a church that's in the city limits of Trophy Club would pay more for water than somebody like Solana who's outside the town?
If they did not petition the MUD to be annexed, yes, they would pay double the water rates and double the sewer rates.
That doesn't seem right.
Well, they could also petition the MUD to be annexed and pay the same rate that everybody else pays.
Okay.
That's going to be their decision.
Circle.
I move to approve Resolution 2013-08 as amended at the dais.
Second.
I have a question. What if we didn't approve it? What would happen?
These 3 property owners would have to find another source for water and wastewater.
Okay. That's all I want to know.
Oh, okay.
And they're in our town, technically. I mean,
Well, they could still get their water, wastewater from the MUD, but they'd have to pay double rates if we
well,
didn't.
they may have to anyway.
If we
I
didn't.
don't know without, I gave you an excerpt of the Texas Water Code. I don't know, I'd have to refer to legal whether or not, if you disapprove that ordinance, or the resolution, I don't know if MUD could provide those services or not. I wouldn't know, do you?
We have to consent to service.
I'm sorry?
We have to consent to service for them to provide that service.
Okay.
Yes, my understanding is that the PID can't expand, and so then the other
That's correct.
property.
All 3 of those properties are within the PD 27. They are not in the PID. That's 2 different things. And a lot of people associate PD 27 with the PID. It's PD 27 is everything except those 3 property owners.
Okay, we did have a motion for approval of Resolution 20-13-08 by Councilman Rose, second by Councilwoman Tiffany. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay. Item 12, town manager's slides update regarding the following and discussions of the same. Police department facility update, feasibility and TIF RFQ update, election update, back to nature update, and park and recreation update. Town manager slide, all yours.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We have engaged Jamel and Smith. They'll start tomorrow, rehabbing the police facility. I want to remind all of you and all of my staff that that is a construction zone. You know, it's not a safe place to be. So if you're interested in seeing what's going on, stop by my office first, and we'll have to get you escorted in and out. It's going to be a mess, especially the first couple of weeks when we're doing the dirt mitigation piece and demolition piece. It's going to be a dangerous situation. So I have authorized the police department to engage a moving facility or moving company to get all of their equipment and furniture and records out of that facility so that we can, the choice really was to move it out ourselves and put it in pods. I think we were going to need a significant number of pods and had nowhere to put them other than here. And we don't have here to put. We're already tight on space, especially as we approach the election period. And so the furniture company will be in to load it up on a trailer, put it in storage for 30 days. The period of the construction is 32 days. By the time they blow in and get out, so we're looking at the beginning of June before the police department will be back in once the furniture and equipment is moved back in. We've made arrangements with the contractor to keep the evidence room that won't be touched anyway, accessible as necessary to the investigators and to our police investigators. So that won't be a problem. We have talked through with the contractor during the pre-construction meeting some ways to save some money. I think that what we're attempting to get done is to put a habitable facility out there for the police department until we can come up with a permanent solution for them. So we're not interested in rebuilding to have another facility for the next 17 years. We're moving forward with our planning, and that brings me to my next topic. We are in the negotiation stage with GSBS, which is a architectural firm, to conduct the feasibility study, and assuming that they can come in with a price that is palatable with the council, with the understanding of the scope of their work. I anticipate having them on the agenda for May 20th for your approval. If we can't come in with what I think is a reasonable price, we'll move down to the next vendor. But they are our vendor of choice at this point. We interviewed 3 of them. All 3 are very highly qualified. GSBS has got some team players that have some history with Trophy Club that might help us along the way, and have had some experience with Trophy Club and Trophy Club politics and the whole gamut. So I suspect that that might help us in the long run. We'll see what price they come in with. I expect that in this week sometime, and then we'll move forward. But the idea is to have both the feasibility study and the TIF consultant on the council's agenda for the 20th for approval. The TIF consultant, we had 1 response, Gary Pettit, and because they'll be engaged by the 4B board, they're on the 4B board's agenda for Monday night, and at that time he will also be providing what I'm referring to as a TIF 101 class on what a TIF is and how it works and some of the nuances and what it doesn't do more specifically. that he will provide to the 4B board. And I'm also preparing him or asking him to do the same presentation to the council on the 20th. Is a TIF 101, ask your questions. We've had a similar presentation, I think was before Councilman Mayer and Schrader were elected. And we don't deal with TIFs all that often. It would be beneficial, I think, for everybody to be a part of that. So lots of activity that's happening, and we'll have that for your approval then on the 20th. Election update. I can tell you that we have a total as of today at the close of the polls, 476 total voters, which is, if you ask the election ladies, extremely slow activity. And you can take and infer whatever you want from that, but that's how many we've had. The polls will be open again from 7 to 7 tomorrow. And then beyond that, what is it, Amy?
May 11th, Election Day.
So after tomorrow, the early election ceases at 7 p.m. tomorrow night, and then, of course, Saturday is Election Day. Okay? Parks and Rec, Back to Nature. Last weekend we had the Back to Nature event that, if you didn't know what all was there, I'm going to give you a kind of a rundown of the kind of vendors that were there. We had, during the day, somewhere between 350 and 400 kids out there. And that's despite the fact that there was a Little League tournament, full-day soccer going on. We had all kinds of activity all over the town. We had 350 to 400 kids show up. 230 of them stayed to camp that night, and they had beautiful weather. But listen to some of the demos that they were exposed to. There was raptor birds of prey demonstration, reptile demonstration. The kids were able to grab onto snakes if they wanted to, and I mean, that's more power to them. If you wanted to learn how to fly fish, you could be taught how to fly fish. A fossil vendor, I'm using a fossil vendor because I can't say that other word, paleonto whatever it is.
Paleontologist, yeah.
Texas Parks and Wildlife was represented. The police department was there and had their own booth. 14 total vendors there throughout the day. Those kids had more thrown at them. Mountain bikers were there. Nature hikers were there. It was just a fantastic event for these kids that can only grow. I was very, very proud of Adam and Sherry Lewis for pulling this thing together. Lots of work and lots of effort to pull it together and then to manage it on site. So it was a really neat deal last weekend. Just wanted to kind of give you a snapshot of that event. Moving forward, May 18th, we got the Cross Timbers Bike Rally coming through town. Our swimming pool will be open Memorial Weekend. We're getting busy getting all of that done. We've got all our summer hires hired. The maintenance guys are busy trimming bushes so that people can still see and they don't present visibility obstructions and that kind of thing, and putting color out in the medians right now. You'll see all of that just grow up right before your very eyes.
I saw 3 flatbeds.
Yeah, they're put.
Plants go down the drive today.
I specifically asked Adam to have all the color out before the mayor got here, so he's doing a good job.
We need some more cactus.
I think I covered it all.
In bloom.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sly. Council, any questions for Mr. Sly? Okay, item 13, mayor and council updates regarding training opportunities, educational sessions, regional meetings. It's been a long day. and discussion of the same. Two things that I was a part of in representing the mayor and the town last week Thursday was our National Day of Prayer, which is normally held at the Clock Tower, but if you recall, last week Thursday we had cloudy skies, winds blowing about 35 miles an hour. It would not be a very comfortable setting at the Clock Tower, so our Methodist Church was kind enough to offer their facilities, and we had great attendance there. Everybody was warm and comfortable, and I got to share in reading the proclamation, joint proclamation, with the Mayor of Roanoke and Mayor of Westlake. The Saturday before, April 27th, Congressman Burgess held his annual Emergency Management Summit that I know Mayor White would have loved to attend, because she's all about that. Talk about lots of vendors. There was tons of stuff there. There's probably, I don't know, 100 to 150 volunteers with all types of booths. Denton County, emergency preparedness, the American Red Cross was there. They did a rescue dog demonstration out in the courtyard, and these dogs are amazing. I mean, what all they can do by, dogs literally climbing ladders, walking across the ladders, going down the ladders, and just loving to do it because they're trained by their reward, which is a toy, and they can't wait to get that toy again. So they're great active dogs, and the neat thing about them, all these were rescue dogs. So they came out of some shelter and then professionally trained to be able to do this. So it's a neat part. That went from about 8 to noon. Good event. We need to work on our overall attendance, but as Town Manager Sly said, there's so much going on ends here for our residents to be involved in. It's you got to pick and choose. So, council, any further updates on things?
I was glad and privileged to attend and participate in South Lakes. Great day of prayer. They did hold it outside. It was 6 o'clock. It must have been about 38 degrees, and the wind was blowing 38 miles an hour. It was a cool event.
To say both ways, right?
Yeah, both ways.
Okay.
Just want to add one thing. Since we were able to honor our girls golf team today, the softball team Friday night has a home playoff game in the regional quarterfinals. So if you have nothing to do Friday night, want to take a moment to go down to Byron Nelson. They'll be hosting. Don't ask me who, but it's there.
Okay.
Say again?
Waverly?
It's not Waverly. Okay. I have to look at the schedule, but no, it's a home playoff game Friday night. So
be there Friday night. All right, kick off. Okay, item 14, future agenda items. Council, anything to add or subtract from our future agendas? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to item 15, which is our executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code annotated subchapter 551. Council will convene in a closed executive session as authorized by A, section 551.071, 2, consultation with attorney, for consultation with its attorney on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body under the disciplinary rules of professional contact of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with the Open Meetings Act. Item water and wastewater services, terms of interlocal agreement regarding lease and conveyance of utility system assets and provision of retail water and wastewater services, approval and parameters of representation and related matters. Go into executive session at 8:51. Call the council back into session at 10:06. Coming out of executive session here, council, is there any action coming out of session?
make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We're adjourned at 10:07.
Yeah, call, take a vote.
I gotta make the migration back.